learned something extraordinary. People love their pets.
Yes.
And they want their experiences in terms of excrement to be pleasant for their animals. And listen, the people paid a fortune for it. It was a huge success. It was my first big marketing.
Weather update for you. I'm meteorologist Jared Heil here in the Storm Team Weather Center. We have a new tornado warning that was just issued about 2 minutes ago. This is for parts of Jackson County, Indiana. Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine is in with me, and he's going to be manning the radar, getting us any updates as well on this storm. Ben, you may have to turn off the magic track on there because I'm in the key wall from earlier this evening. And that red box there across Jackson County is actually where we have the tornado warning in effect. This is, again, north of Louisville and probably in a bit of a rain-cooled environment. We haven't had any reports so far of severe weather. So in this instance, that chance of storms are going to be there for the next little bit with this threat of severe weather across our northernmost county in Kentuckiana. Again, Seymour, Jackson County, that chance of some strong storms and perhaps a tornado touching down over the next little bit. So if you're in these areas, we're going to break down exactly the track of where that storm is going to go here in the next 20 minutes or so. That warning goes until 10:30 p.m. So we're zooming in real tight into Jackson County right now, showing you exactly where this storm is located. Seymour, Brownstown, a lot of heavy rain, thunder, and lightning, but it's actually this very red and then a little bit area of gray and green. That is some very broad rotation. But earlier this evening, we had actually a couple of weak tornado touchdowns from what we're hearing. One in Orange County, just north of Paoli along 37, and also a bit earlier than that in parts of Monroe County, Indiana. Same sort of a situation. So this is why the Weather Service is not taking any chances. They are issuing these short fuse tornado warnings. Over the next 15 or 20 minutes, this storm headed for Brownstown, Seymour, Reading, North Vernon, Grayford. If you're in these locations, that's where the storm is going to head very, very shortly. Again, this is all well north of Louisville. In the metro, we are seeing some scattered rain and thunder. As we zoom out here a little bit, you can see what we have. Bands of showers and storms. There is obviously more energy the farther north you travel. This area has been lit up with storms through the evening. As they've gotten closer to the metro, they have weakened substantially. Even the lightning count that we had a bit earlier, not nearly as impressive now as it's moved into the city. But again, this band of storms is refiring from Seymour to Mitchell and then on south to near Jasper and just north. So we'll have to keep an eye on this activity as we're still ahead of the cold front. There's still some wind energy available for these storms. A little bit of weak broad rotation just west of our viewing area. We'll keep an eye on that. But also up here, this is the main concern that we have, which is near Freetown. It's not very impressive. The only concern, Ben, that we have is that non-impressive looking things on the radar have caused some problems this evening.
Yeah, and you can see that heavy rainfall right along and north of Highway 50 here in Indiana. And that area of rotation, even though it's not real impressive, but what we're watching is between Freetown and Brownstown, and we'll be heading towards the Seymour area. So just to, be careful. We want you to be seeking shelter, lowest level of your home and away from the doors and windows. And again, we'll put another track on where that's heading. You can see this is what we're looking at. We don't have the typical bright green next to the bright reds, but this is the potential area of some rotation here. And this warning is being issued by the Indianapolis National Weather Service. And so we'll put that track as it heads towards the east at about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So again, heading towards the Cortland area in about 6 minutes. That's almost the same area that had that tornado-warned storm earlier this afternoon. Into Seymour in about 15 minutes, Reading in about 20, Four Corners in a half hour. If this were to hold together, and these are very short-lived spin-ups, so big question mark whether it would survive heading more than a half hour. North Vernon, 45 minutes, and into Jennings County. So that's an area where we could, if not a tornado, some gusty winds possible there in the north central parts of Jackson County, Indiana, and heading towards the Seymour area. We'll go ahead and put the rainfall back on here. And not seeing much lightning out of these storms, maybe a few rumbles of thunder here and there, but not as much as we saw earlier today, Jared.
Certainly not. And that makes sense because we've overturned the atmosphere. And what I mean by that is we've had repeated rounds of rain that acts to cool the atmosphere and stabilize things at the surface. So you're talking 45, 50 miles north of Louisville. Here in the metro, it's just some light rain, a couple of claps of thunder. broken band of thunder showers extending from Seymour and then toward parts of Orange and Lawrence counties. There's the tornado warning. Kind of hard to see it because it's red on red. The red box surrounding, of course, where you have some of that heavier rain. And there's the warning, real clear to see. Seymour, Brownstown, Freetown. Jonesville, by the way, which is in Bartholomew County, just north of our viewing area, has flooding ongoing reported on some of the bottomland. Of course, this is all very low lying. One of the major floods sticks in my head from a few years ago when we had these major spring floods. At one point, 75% of Jackson County was underwater from the Muscatatuck and the East Fork White River. So they've had a ton of rain today. It's still raining. It's nighttime. Do not want to discount the threat of flash flooding. If you see a flooded roadway, turn around, you'd have no idea how deep the water is or if the road is even still there. The watches we have, thunderstorm watch, hugging the river to either side, Metro to Scottsburg and Austin, out to Salem, Paoli. Interestingly enough, Ben, they had just trimmed the thunderstorm watch box up there across our northern tier where that new warning was just issued.
Yeah, kind of ironic. They just got rid of the severe thunderstorm watch for Jackson, Jennings, and Lawrence counties, and that's the only area that we actually have a tornado warning at the moment. I still think it's an overall low severe weather threat for the rest of tonight. And the severe thunderstorm watch that you see there for Louisville, areas along and north of the Ohio River, that goes until 1 a.m. and there's probably going to be canceled before that, as we have seen the severe weather threat on the diminishing trend, and the severe weather threat is not zero. The tornado threat is not all the way down to a zero chance, but it is very small. If there was a little spin up here just out to the west of Seymour, it would be very short-lived and weak and rain-wrapped. The good safe thing to do is just to stay inside until this tornado warning is over. It goes for about another 17 more minutes or so until 10:30. And again, that's for near the Brownstown area. We'll go ahead and put that warning back on so you can see where the location of that warning is. We'll put another track on this here in just a moment as well. So Freetown to Brownstown to Cortland, Seymour is where we have a tornado warning right now.
And you know, sometimes you can't even tell when you have this very heavy rain punching through, Ben, and then maybe all of a sudden you just get a burst of wind outside your window. We're talking EF0 type wind damage here. So, you know, it's a funnel that may drop to treetop level. You may look out your window in the morning and see, you know, some branches snap at the top of a tree. These are very weak circulations that a lot of times folks can't even discern it from just a straight line wind gust in a general thunderstorm.
And it did look more impressive earlier.
Yes, it did. Right there on the Jackson-Lawrence County line, you even had a little bit of green with the red indicating more shear. And now it's just kind of a wind shift. Yeah. Very broad rotation there just north of Brownstown. At this point, again, we've had no reports. It's still a radar indicated warning, meaning that they have not had any ground truth, but they did want to issue the warning based on the NEXRAD radar. Farther west, maybe a little rotation there on the orange, what is that, the Orange-Lawrence County line? Yeah, right there. There you go.
That's why we have to watch these pretty closely. They can spin up just in a moment's notice, in a blink of an eye. And they might only last for a moment's notice as well.
This is classic Ohio Valley, Ben Pine.
Yeah, and we have this just this broken line of some showers and thunderstorms. It's not real organized, but every once in a while you just get a little notch in the line of storms. You can see how ragged it is, and we have a lot of wind shear out there, a lot of wind energy. It's been a gusty day, and these storms can kind of tap into that. And for a brief moment in time, as we mentioned, we can get that little spin-up tornado. So we do have that tornado warning. That's why we're here on with you until 10:30 for the Seymour area in Indiana, even though that has a little area of some potential rotation here. This is right along the Orange and Lawrence County line. And so when we say that the greens and the reds are next to each other, this is air going away, outbound, away from the radar, and this is coming inbound. And when you get these colors like this close to each other, that means we have some shear and a potential for a tornado. There's not a warning on this storm at this time, and we have to wait and see if it holds together, if it gets any stronger. You see that rotation there just to the northwest of Orangeville.
Yeah, and it is rain-wrapped as well. Interestingly enough, that storm is actually taller than the one in Jackson County. That core right there extends up around 35,000 feet. This one 25,000 feet. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. This has kind of developed on top of itself in the last half hour. Little band of storms. As I've been talking about, we also have this threat of maybe a little bit of flooding because these storms are not moving too quickly yet. Now, we should get a little of a boost in an hour or two and start shoving this stuff off to the southeast. But again, the main line of storms really fell apart, and it's interesting that this redeveloped, Ben, essentially in rain-cooled air in the last half hour.
Yeah, it's gotten a little punch of energy there for sure, and you can see that's heading towards Du Bois County in Indiana around Jasper. You're going to have another round of some heavy rain and some lightning and thunder, so we are getting some energy here. Low-level jet, basically wind speeds kicking up a little bit here late tonight and giving us some energy for some of these thunderstorms as they're moving through southern Indiana. And really, we haven't had much to talk about in Kentucky today. And you can see that we have no warnings anywhere close to our Kentucky areas at the moment. In Louisville, we just have some plain old light rainfall moving in. And again, the reason why we're here with you and breaking into coverage is because we have this one lone tornado warning.
Well, is it there or is it gone? It looks like they canceled it.
It looks like they may have canceled it, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're just going to keep an eye on this other one too, that we have some rotation here. I would not be surprised if it holds together that another warning may be issued.
And I do want to note, I got a text from a buddy of mine, Rick up in Seymour. Rick, don't have time to call you right now, but if you have any reports, text them to me. Appreciate the info. Good to hear from you. Let me know what you got up there. I think that storm is weakening, though, as it heads towards Seymour itself. It was rotating more out in western parts of Jackson County. What Ben is doing right now is tracking the other area of rotation. Not a warning on it right now, but this thing is actually a little bit healthier looking. This is near Orangeville in northwestern parts of Orange County, also southern Lawrence. Going to move between Paoli and Mitchell. So this is going to push east along the county line, Lipsick, Campbellsburg. I know, Ben, you know some folks out there in parts of western Washington County. We were just talking about that a minute ago. Those folks need to be on guard. Watch this cell pretty closely. Yeah,
if that holds together, it could be moving towards just northwest of the Salem area, northern Washington County, so northwestern Washington County. And as you mentioned, it's just hugging the county line there between Orange and Lawrence counties. Right in the middle between Bedford and Paoli is where we have some new rotation there that we're going to be watching very closely here for you over the next 15 minutes or so. But again, we do have that one warning there for Seymour. That's good news that has been canceled, Jared.
Yes, certainly. So we'll keep an eye on this radar situation. If we get any reports, any warnings, we'll be the first on air to keep you updated on these storms. In the meantime, for Ben Pine, I'm Jared Heil here at WHAS 11. Tornado warning is gone for Jackson County. That's the good news, but we will certainly keep you updated on any new developments in the weather. If not, we'll see you at 11.